Hey, so it's Red Shell here. So I'm going to talk about the beacons a little bit here. Me and Dan were talking about beacons a little bit earlier yesterday. So I wanted to do something here with just saying about the strategies we were talking about a little bit and say about something that I was thinking about too. So right now, I'm going to go into Wahoo World because it's... No, Actually, you know what? I should probably... It would be easier to show in Arrow Mall. Now that I think about it a bit more. So, what it was is... So I can go Octopus Nouveau. This is my main weapon. I go it a lot, and it comes with beacons. I use sub power-up all the time. But we were thinking, when we all spawn in... Well, what Dan was saying is that when we all spawn in, I go place a beacon somewhere, specifically at a sniping spot. So this would be a good spot right here, just to place a beacon here. I normally start out here anyways. But then I would get to another good area for a spot to snipe at. Over here, or something like that. So then I'd place a beacon like, say here, or something like that. So then whoever's going like a splatter scope or a heavy splatling can go from beacon to beacon and snipe from them. And each beacons would have two uses because of the them not being being the beacon holder. So then they'd be able to jump to them more than once, which would be very helpful. Which would be good. We wouldn't even necessarily need one over here because of this incline, now that I think about it, because then we could have one here. Just use the incline when they need to come over here quickly, and then they're already got a good spot. But you get what I mean. So we're thinking about that. Now I'm not sure. I'd definitely say this would be one of the maps that we'll work on. There's two very good sniping spots on this map, and there's very few offensive beacon spots. There are a few, but they're very easily destroyed. There's one here for an offensive beacon spot, and one up here. This one is extremely helpful. It's easily destroyed, but if you can keep it alive for a while, it's really nice. And there's a few others for like clam blitz and stuff like that, but those are really the only two main offensive beacon spots. There's one down here too, I guess, but it's not quite as good. So we'd be able to have just a beacon down here, over here, for the backline to just snipe from and provide cover. So if like, say the charger is like, or the backline is over here, we just finished up a push, and everyone's dead, literally everyone. They can jump back over here quickly, already have their area to snipe from, try to keep the other team back, and we'd all be able to jump to them in time, probably by the time we all respawn. So then we wouldn't have to waste more uses of the beacons, so then the sniper can jump back and forth between them again, which would be very good. Now, there's definitely a few stages this would work on, and if someone ran Ballpoint Nouveau, we could also use that for the backline. This is mainly how you're going to want to be using beacons as a Ballpoint Nouveau or a E-Leader for a custom E-Leader. I don't know how many, I don't doubt custom E-Leader will be used much, though. But yeah, so we were thinking about that a little bit. Next thing I want to say about is, I was saying about offensive beacons. I think I posted, in the future I'm going to post my beacon definitions just so people can know what I'm talking about. So these two would technically be classified as defensive beacons, which would be good for backlines, of course, to jump back to, or to just help us out with defending, which would be what those beacons are for. So this would definitely work on a lot of stages. Let me quit out recon. I know there's definitely a few stages that wouldn't work on, Manta Marina being one of them, even though there's 2 good sniping spots. If I'm using beacons, I'm pretty much going to need the offensive beacon spots on that map are way too good, are way better than the defensive beacon spots or supportive beacon spots, quote unquote, like the midline beacons. Let's go to Wahoo World. This is another example of it where this could work. Although it also shows another thing about what I was going to say. So if we start out here, one thing with placing beacons is you gotta figure out if it's worth it because of the distance traveled. Like, you need to go out of your way to place the beacon. You need to figure out if it's worth placing that beacon with how easy it is to get to that area and how easily destroyed the beacon is by a bomb or something. So we start here. We could have someone go over here, and I could place a beacon here. But what I was thinking is that since this path is much faster, I could go over here quickly, place the beacon, and then while I'm doing this, someone could spawn in and go all the way over to this area over here. Probably the backline would at that certain point. So then they'd go over here, and then I'd jump to them after placing this beacon. I'd jump to the backline, and then place a beacon over here, which would be very helpful. I do that in Anchovy games sometimes too. I can show that off because I think Anchovy is in rotation right now. But that would greatly reduce my travel time to place both of those beacons. I did not mean to place that. But yeah, so that would be much quicker, and that would give our backline access to both points on the map. That would be very quick to go and defend. Like, say, the other team's starting to push. The backline's over here in mid. They're starting to push in. Half of us are dead. They jump back over here. They already have a nice area to defend on and be able to get maybe some snipes or just keep the other team back from over here. So that's really what I'm thinking of, what me and Dan are thinking about right now. Of course, I think that's pretty much it. The main problem I'm thinking of this is that it limits my beacon uses, because there's only 3 beacons per team. Well, technically 12 beacons per team, but you need 4 beacon weapons at that point. So normally we'll only be running 1 beacon, which I doubt we'll do quad beacons. So we'll have 3 beacons, meaning I'll have 1 offensive beacon. Which the problems with that is I use beacons a lot in combat. So I'd have to mentally keep a note to not place too many beacons until the other ones are destroyed. Because if I place 2 more beacons right here, one of these gets destroyed. See, this one got destroyed. So now our charger can't quite jump back and forth. And we would need to try to keep... I'd either need to choose whether I want a midline beacon or an offensive beacon, unless I can jump back quick and then place the offensive beacon in, like, preemptively, which would be a bit interesting. I could probably work that into my gameplay, though. Let me just do one more example, 1 or 2 more, maybe. I just want to say about this. Hopefully I'm explaining it good enough. What else could be good? Humpback would be pretty bad for that. Anchovy, yeah, I can show Anchovy, like I said earlier. So Anchovy on this stage, what I normally start out at is placing the beacon right here at the window, because it's quick, it's easy, and it's a good supportive beacon. Because not only is there a beacon close to mid then, because there's the beacon close to mid at a 90-degree angle pretty much from like a main, like from the fan and this like little area at the window. If anyone's like sharking here, if you look on the map, you will be able to see them, which is extremely helpful if you're needing to know if someone's over here. So if the other team's just right here sharking or something, you can look on the map, there they are, because they're located from the beacon. So that beacon spot's very good. Well, what I normally do then is I either jump or just swim over here and place another beacon right here. Now the reason why I place it here instead of like behind this wall or over here is because over here I don't think is worth it in terms of travel distance from spawn. And then behind this wall is too easily destroyed. Because all they need to do is throw a bomb over and it's destroyed. And there's a lot of bombs going over this wall because chargers and splatlings like staying here. So a lot of people like throwing bombs, especially juniors and stuff like that. So over here, it's like you can see it easily, and if someone comes up here, it's easily destroyed. But if they just look that way too, they can see that one, and it's a bit harder to hit with a bomb, which is generally why I place it there. So then our charger could go from here to the window, and then if we really want the more defensive beacon spots, there's one over here through the sponge, where we could place one on like here, I guess. That might be a bit interesting. I could place it like here, somewhere back here. Yeah, this would probably be better. It might take a little bit more time, but it'd be much more defendable. Especially since, like I explained earlier with the other beacon, there's a lot of bombs that go over this little wall right here. Especially if you're moving the fan, a lot of people like throwing bombs up at you. So this beacon would be too easily destroyed. That one would probably be better. Especially for the just short time loss. So we'd have one here. This is another option for it. And then there'd be one more up over here on the far right. These are like two extreme defensive spots. This one not quite as much as extreme. Again, I placed this one over in the corner here, just because it's too easily destroyed if you place it right behind this wall from bombs. And this one is extremely helpful in tower control and clam blitz. Tower control, clam blitz, and rainmakers. I'd say rainmaker. Well, clam blitz, this one's also extremely helpful on. But the three, all modes but zones, this one's extremely helpful on. So sometimes we want to go out of our way to place this one. Anything else? Nothing really. Also, I think having more than two beacons back here for this strategy is going to be way too much. Unless we have someone going ballpoint or a custom E-leader and places all three at the start, potentially. But with placing all three at the start, you still need to get your ink back and then place another beacon and get your ink back again. So that still might take too much time. Placing beacons doesn't take too much time, but in a game that only lasts for 5 minutes can be forever. On average, each team is out in mid and already fighting 20 seconds into the game. So if you're like 15 seconds in and you're still like back there placing your second beacon out of 3, that'll take way too long. Generally with beacon placements, you want to like make a route where you can go through, place a beacon, and then get enough ink back to place another instantly. So yeah, so this stage could work for the strat. Might be good for on more. It might not be good on zones, but of course on like tower control or rainmaker potentially could help out. And then I guess I'm gonna show a stage that wouldn't work on because of a few reasons. Is there a good one in rotation right now? Inkblot. Inkblot I could do. Yeah. So this is the Turf War version of Inkblot. So it'll be mostly like zones. But with Inkblot, we could do this strategy. It's something we could consider, but I don't think it'd be quite as good because of the amount of offensive beacon spots on this. So there's a beacon spot right here I can do. This one would be good for just, you know, this is overall a good charger spot. They have a lot of range and they can hit the zone. If you go over here, this actually, it might be close enough so it might just be fast enough by swimming. But over here, here's another one. You can go over here, especially for tower control, I could see this being helpful. And then, since the tower's going through this area right here, you'd be able to just jump to this beacon and have this little area overhanging and able to snipe or use a splatling from over here. Being able to attack that crucial point at tower. And there's another one right here if they don't get to the beacon before. So that could help out a ton. This is also the main area where the rainmaker has to move up, and it's both of these areas are where you go to the clam basket, which can be very helpful. But even though it is very helpful, it might not be worth it because the amount of offensive beacon spots and midline beacon spots on this map one midline I've always liked is this one, where you place one right here. The reason why you place it on the ground instead of up top is up top's more safe, but it takes more time because of the travel distance from here to here. And you can go around the other way. But let me jump back up here again. If you go around the other way, then the opponent can see you. Because if you go this way, there's a wall in between you. If you go this way, they see you coming through. So this way's faster, but this way you save time by placing it on the ground. It's harder to get to the beacon, harder for them to see you come around, and especially as something like an octobrush, it's very good to be able to get flanks without them being able to see you. This especially helps with my ninja squid. Another one just for zones. This one's a bit weird, but it's in the zone, this one. It can be helpful just for seeing if anyone's rushing to the top. This is more of a locator beacon. Another good locator beacon spot would be something like right here, or something just along this wall. A bit more temporary. It's not gonna stay alive for long, but you'll be able to see who's on plat, what's going on, and if you can help out with anything. Another good beacon spot is right here along this wall. It's not destroyed very easily. Well, no, it is destroyed very easily, but it can be good for when you're pushing or... Well, yeah, this is more of an offensive beacon, so it's good for when you're pushing and the other team isn't really in mid right now. It's especially good right here, because then you get the locator beacon advantage of being able to see up there. Here, let me just reset this, because there's a few other spots I need to say about to explain this. Alright, let's go into this one again. So, where are the other spots? Two other spots are on opposite sides of the map. If you go over here, there's one here, or here, just for wherever the opponent is at the current time. If they're over pushing in mid, you might want to place it here. If they're coming back from mid, you might want to place it here. This is a good one for tower control. Since this wall is inkable and the tower moves along this path right here, then you can go up and attack them because you can ink this wall and go above, which is extremely helpful. There's another one over here for tower control. There's normally like a stack right here that you have to place, and if any beacon behind this, whether here, here, is also good. That other beacon spot over here also works here for offensive purposes, an offensive beacon. Over here, this is a good offensive beacon spot, especially in tower control when you place it up there, or a different mid-game mode where you have to push, like Rainmaker. If you eventually get up here, a good one to place is right here. This is more temporary, it's very easily destroyed, but it's good for traps, and if you're really pushing into the other team's base. Because if I'm attacking right here, I'm in trouble and I need to try to stay alive, I can jump over here, and I'm still right back in the action. I can still go out and help you guys, but I don't have the travel time anymore. I'm back out in a split second, especially because of my sub power. Also, I just realized these are bathrooms. That's really cool. I sort of need to use the restroom now myself. I'm joking. But, like, as I said, there's a lot of good beacon spots. Technically, there's a good one over here too, but this one's never used just because it's stupid hard to get to and extremely easily destroyed. Extremely easy to destroy. So, really, my point is with all this, some maps we are not going to be wanting to use this strategy. It is a good strategy on stuff like Arowana Mall, like I said earlier. And yeah, overall, that's all I got to say for this right now. I guess we'll be talking about this a little bit, probably. I think it would be good to start on maybe, because it could definitely help out, providing a lot more pressure onto the other team and allowing us to be able to get out of there quickly. I know Pokey already likes jump to my beacons a lot. That's really good. I don't quite know about anyone else though. It's mainly just because I know Pokey says about it. But, well, he says about it during matches, but which is good. There are also certain beacon spots, like on Camp Traderfish, where you want to only use them in defensive purposes, which I will I might go into later if I need to. But yeah, that's generally what I want to say. This is getting a bit long, so I'll just provide timestamps for everyone just to get the specific points of the video. That's pretty much going to be it. I think that would help us out a lot. Of course, with the time to place beacons, it'll change per weapon, especially since I like using crack on splat roller sometimes, especially on like something like clam blitz because it's got a baller, or tower control, because I'm good with this weapon in tower control. That might slow down beacon placements, which might affect us a little bit, making Octobrush Nouveau maybe a bit better of a pick for certain maps. And of course, there's ballpoint. Let me get up the other beacon weapons. Really, the beacon weapons we'll be using is Octobrush Nouveau, ballpoint Splatling Nouveau, probably, and Crack on Splat Roller. Just because I already know ballpoint's insane. It did get a nerf, but it's still really good. Tenebrel's a thing, and Dapples are a thing. But honestly, Camobrel is better just for what seemingly are team comps, because we don't really have many weapons that use Stamp besides Kenza Splat Roller. No, not Kenza Splat. Kenza Octobrush. So Kenza Octobrush can just go Stamp if we need this Tenebrella, I guess, if we really want to Stamp. No one uses Sploosh Neo. I know Dan uses Dapple Doolies a little bit, but I don't think he uses the versions with beacons too much. And I'm really bad with this weapon. It's my worst beacon weapon, so I definitely don't use this thing. But, and then there's E-Leaders, which E-Leader's a bit weird. It's a bit too slow in my opinion, and the bubbles don't help it out too much. The normal E-Leader can definitely work on some stages because of its Storm and Ink Mines, but I don't know. Hopefully we talk about this a little bit. I guess we'll shut up. And yeah, that's the beacon strategies we're talking about. So hopefully we can implement them a little bit. And yeah, I guess this is the end.